Hello, welcome back. Or if you're new, welcome. This is GN Inspire, and I'm Gladys Nyatich. I started this platform, GN Inspire platform, YouTube channel, to share stories related to education, to career, to personal development. So if you scroll through the videos, you will see that I've hosted over 30 guests who come here to share how they found out about their scholarships, how they applied, how they're navigating career, and all those things related to education, career, and personal development. Today, though, we are going to reflect back. So this channel, I started, I want to call it was my New Year, my 2024 New Year resolution. And this is how it came about. So I'll tell you the story of how I came to, how I found myself here on YouTube. And then just 3 lessons that I've learned so far through this journey of content creation. So let's start. The past few years have been challenging myself to either start a new project or work on one skill or improve a skill. So for my New Year resolution, I don't have a long list of things to do. I normally have just one thing that I want to improve, or I want to learn, or I want to do in that year. So that if I don't do anything else, at least I will have started on or completed a project, an idea, whatever it is. So this year, out of nowhere, I do consume a lot of YouTube and a lot of podcasts. When I'm taking my long walks, I listen to podcasts. But I really never thought that I could be a content creator, that I can find myself creating a YouTube channel. But then, you know that idea that is incessant. It's inside of you. It keeps telling you, do this. This project is yours to do. This business is yours to start. Do your master's, do your PhD, start that business. Start volunteering, start that charitable organization. It's normally a silent whispering voice that if you're not careful, it's easy to brush aside. And especially as we go through our busy day-to-day lives, busy, noisy, distracting day-to-day lives. But when you retreat to yourself as you sleep, or as you wake up in the morning, or when you're just silent, or when you're just silent, no social media, no distraction, the voice will come to you. I think you understand that voice. I don't have to describe it. So for me, late last year, actually, that is when the voice came. And if you check my channel, you will see that I posted some random videos in November of last year, November of 2023. But then I was so scared. I was just feeling like this is a new territory for me. I don't know how to handle it. I even don't think I'm a YouTuber. I even don't think I can consider myself a content creator. But then anyway, that voice kept talking to me. It was incessant. It refused to go. And so towards the beginning of 2024, I decided, you know what, let me take on the skill of podcasting or content creation as one of my skill or one of my projects in 2024. And so I started making preparations for that. I posted my first, what I call episode 1, like proper, well thought out, well recorded episode on 18th of March, 2024. And I even don't want to tell you the challenges I went through recording that video. We'll talk about it in a few. But anyway, so today is more of a reflection to this new project or my 2024 resolution that has bloomed, it's really grown beyond more than I was expecting. I've now, when you check the videos, we are now, as at now, we have 42 episodes, I think. I did not think I could do more than 10 episodes. I had an idea of 3 or 4 to 5 episodes. Those ones I was sure. But then beyond the 5th episode, I had no idea. But hey, let's go to the lessons that I've learned. And the first one is synchronicity. And if I was to choose the word of the year for me in my life, I would say synchronicity. Just Google that word. I've just seen, and once you come to this world of, or you understand how synchronicity works, your life will never be the same. It's magical. And this is, let me define. So I'm just giving you 3 lessons that I've learned through this, walking through this project, or this 2024 resolution of mine of starting a YouTube channel, G and Inspire. So synchronicity, I got to know about synchronicity from Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way book. If you're a reader, and if you're not even a reader, just buy it. Read 1 page at a time. The Artist's Way changed my life. I can't really describe it, but yes, I read that book. I read that book on a flight. I was flying somewhere. I just couldn't put it down. I couldn't put it down because I felt like Julia understood me. I felt like she was speaking to my situation. And actually, that is where I got the energy to even post my first video. Because as you know, if you've tried making something, baking a cake, starting a business, anything you think of starting, it's always, you are never ready. Like you just, you just want to do one extra thing. Anyway, I think I'm rambling there. But let's go back to synchronicity. So synchronicity is this idea, and Julia Cameron writes that it's this idea of listening to that whispering voice that we had talked about, that voice that keeps coming back every year, telling you this is your thing to start. Don't wait for anyone else to start. You go to YouTube and you find there is a niche that no one is feeling. It's your niche to feel. And that voice keeps coming back to you. When you listen to that voice, so Julia Cameron says that voice that keeps coming to you is from the universe, or it's from the heavens, or from God, or wherever higher being you believe in. It's divine. It's divine. And it's kind of God or universe is nudging you to co-create, to bring that thing to the world and bless the world and unleash your talent so that other people can benefit. And so Julia says, when you obey, when you first of all listen to that voice, then obey. Normally it's not easy to obey because it's overwhelming. It's a lot of, it's a big project that you just don't know where to start, right? Like when I was thinking of this content creation, so many things I did not know. How do people shoot videos? I even wanted to book a studio. It's just that it was 10,000 Kenya shillings, and I was like, I feel like it's too much for 2 hours. I think that it was. I was like, I need a camera, and I did like rough Google search, and the camera is expensive. A good camera is expensive. Anyway, I was just feeling so overwhelmed. I was like, where do I even begin? But then Julia says, when you listen to that voice and then you agree, you say yes, I've agreed. Let's go in this journey. It's like walking blindfolded it's like walking in a dark alleyway. I don't know where it's heading, but hey, let me just take one step into this dark alleyway or dark corridor. I don't know where it's going, but you're telling me to go that direction. Let me just do that. And that is what I did. So I was like, you know what? It's so scary, overwhelming, but this voice is refusing to go. Let me just believe it's from the universe, it's from God, and let me take one step and see where this goes. And then Julia says, when you do that, God, universe, whoever higher being you believe in, will bring things, will bring people, will take you places, will bring ideas and resources almost magically to help you achieve or complete that project. It's just, yeah, sometimes it's hard to believe because it's kind of spiritual. You've got to believe, you've got to have that faith before you see the results. And most of the time it's not easy. Like sometimes we want to see the product, we want to see the end before we start. But then in synchronicity, Julia is saying, you just obey the voice. and you take the first step. Do not worry so much about the next kilometer, the fourth kilometer, the fifth, the 10th, 100th kilometer. Those things that you will need, the universe, God will bring. And so I posted my first video, and I wanted my channel to be like interview format, where because I have amazing friends with amazing, inspiring stories, and I was like, I want to bring those stories to share with my audience, and so I was going for an interview format. So number one, I was like, so most of these friends of mine, they are scattered all over the world. And so I was like, then if it's an interview format, how do I record? We won't be here together physically. So how do I record? Then I started the journey of Googling how to do virtual interview. And I got a virtual studio. It's called Riverside. There are so many of them. But then I just signed up. I just signed up and I was like, you know what, let's go with this. Then I was like, okay, so I'm gonna do interview format. Where will I get? And I was challenging myself to do at least one video a week. Then I was like, if I'm gonna do this for the whole of 2024, that was a promise I made to myself, that one video every week. It doesn't matter if there is 0 views. It doesn't matter. One video every week until the end of 2024. Then I was like, those are quick calculation. Those are like roughly in a year, 50 weeks. Let's just say 40 weeks. Where will I get 40 guests? Like, who will agree to come on camera to share their stories? Where will I get those? I had a list of 5 friends that I knew they would say yes to being interviewed. But then where will I get the rest 30-something guests? But then I was like, you know what? Synchronicity. Just listen to the voice, take the first step, and the universe, God, will bring all those resources, all the people, anything you need in that journey to accomplishing that project. And sure enough, I'm here to testify that I contacted my first guest, Ruth, who was so gracious, a friend of mine, and I told her about this project that I'm planning to do, and I wanted to interview her. She has an incredible story. You go check. I think episode 2 should be episode 2. She was my first guest, and I really give a lot of thanks, and I'm really grateful, because she said, whatever. I was like, oh Ruth, I don't know how this will be. I don't know how this will turn out. And she was like, it's okay. Just interview me. You post the thing. I'm here with you. If it goes down, if people criticize it, I'll be there with you to share that criticism, because I'll be your first guest. We will be 2 people on that video. So anyway, I'm really thankful to Ruth. Thank you, Ruth. So Ruth, when I interviewed Ruth, it was supposed to be 1 hour interview. It ended up, we stayed there, I think 5 hours, because I could not figure out the settings, the audio. We were doing like virtual studio. So many things I did not know, but Ruth was so gracious, and she stayed there until we finally recorded the entire episode. Ruth was my first guest, and then I hosted Miriam, and then it just went out of control from there. Before long, I was getting friends from LinkedIn, and thank you so much, guys, for reaching out. They were like, Gladys, I love what you're doing, inspiring students and young professionals, sharing these stories. I'm happy to be interviewed on your channel. They were so heartwarming. Like, literally, I was taking screenshots of those LinkedIn messages and putting it on my online journal, and the title Synchronicity. And there is this concept, they say, when you are looking, when your mind is looking for something, you will see it everywhere. So the whole of 2024 for me, the word of 2024 for me is synchronicity. And literally, I was just seeing synchronicity everywhere. So from LinkedIn, people reached out. From Facebook, another friend reached out saying, I'm happy to be interviewed. You're doing an amazing thing, and I'm happy to help. I'm happy to be there. So you guys, the guests that I've hosted here, super grateful. As we speak, we have 40-something episodes. I've hosted over 30 guests, and I want to continue this in 2025, hopefully in a bigger, better way. But yes, Synchronicity. Do not overthink. Just listen to that voice, first of all, obey that voice, that divine voice, then take the first step. And the rest will be provided for you. You don't have to see the end of the tunnel before you begin your journey. Just start. Synchronicity. That takes us to the second point, second lesson that I've learned. And the lesson is, you will never be 100% ready. Never. Never. And that lesson, mostly I keep borrowing that lesson. I actually learned that lesson during my PhD. So naturally, I'm a perfectionist. I want things to be 100%. I want things to be organized certain way. Like I have an image in my mind, and those things, they have to go as I've envisioned. And yeah, many projects, anything you do in life, most of the time, the first step is not 100%. It's not perfect. And you have to be okay with that. And it's been a struggle. It's been a journey for me. And so during my PhD, I remember I wasted so much time. I think the first year, one and a half years of my PhD, trying to just, set up everything perfectly well, trying to do computer simulations before I actually set up experiments, thinking that when I kind of, do a dry run on my computer, then when I go to the experimental facility, it will translate. No, I learned the hard way that the easiest way to move ahead in life is to just start wherever you are, with what you have, with the resources you have. Start unprepared. Start scared. And you will be an expert along the way. If you wait to be 100%, it will be too long. The opportunity will be gone. It will be too late. I think when I was explaining the synchronicity thing, I've already explained that I do not know how people record these things. It was the first time doing content creation. And so I signed up on Riverside. So when I'm interviewing guests, I use Riverside. When I'm like this episode, I just use my phone camera, and then I record. And so I recorded, and the next thing was, how do people edit these things? And so I edited my first video on CapCut. I was just looking for something simple, something cheap. I also made a mistake of buying so many things on CapCut. When you go to CapCut, there are those things that are pro, where you have to purchase before you use the features that you have to purchase. I wasted my money purchasing, and I now regret, because I wanted everything to be perfect. There are so many free things there. Your video doesn't have to be 100%. I think if you prioritize content, and if you're bringing engaging and valuable content, you are good to go. So anyway, so I started scared, super scared. I remember I recorded, started scared and started unprepared. I remember the first, before I became comfortable speaking on camera or speaking to the camera, I recorded a trailer. I think it was 2 minutes trailer, just explaining what GNU Inspire is all about. And then when I watched the thing, I did 10 retakes on that 2-minute thing. Then even with those 10 retakes, I still did not like how I was looking and how I was sounding. I posted it, and I think after a month, I deleted it. So anyway, someone said, if you're not ashamed of your first product or your first video or your first anything, then you waited too long. So start scared, start unprepared, and you will become an expert along the way. Number 3, F the critics. This is what I've learned. Part of the reason why I was scared, and I think part of the reason why many people are scared to start anything, is because we keep thinking, what will people say? What will my family, my friends say? What will they think about me when I put myself out there? Part of the reason for me was that. Another reason is failure, of course, that you will shoot a video and no one will watch. And it's okay. The first videos you make, it will have 10 views or whatever, but it's okay. The first product you launch, for any average person, I know some people get lucky and they get a breakthrough even from the first day. But for many people, You launch a product and it's only one person who buys it, or no one, and you have to change it, improve it, come back again until you get it. So let's leave the failure side aside. Let's talk about the critics. So, and especially on this online space, the critics are so many, so many. And I was so scared about what will people say. They will talk about how poorly edited my videos are. I was just like overthinking. Actually, I've not gotten like, really bad criticism. Most of the things I kind of expected, that people will have their own opinions, and it's okay. I also have my own opinions. I watch some videos and I feel like, I don't like this. Just because it's not meeting my expectations or whatever. I mean, they've done their best, but so criticism, I think, is natural. Just to say, if you're hesitating doing anything, as we inch closer to 2025, I hope you know that critics are always there. They've been there, they'll be there, and I really wish that you will not shelve your amazing idea, your amazing product, your amazing business, whatever it is, just because you fear what people will say. Every time I shy away or I overthink about criticism, I read this story, and I know some of you've heard this story of the story of a couple, a donkey, and the critics. And the story goes that once upon a time, there were this couple, a husband and a wife, and they were walking a donkey. They were going, I don't know wherever they were going, but it just happens that they were, with them, there was a donkey, and the donkey was walking alongside them. You Google that story and read it. I've forgotten the full details. But the story goes that when the couple was walking with the donkey, they met the first set of critics, and they overheard the critics saying, "Poor couple. These guys do not know that you can actually ride on the donkey. Like, at least maybe one of them should use you, instead of, they look so tired and they just don't know that this donkey is a means of transport. It can literally carry the two of them." They overheard the critics, and so the guy jumped on the back of the donkey, and so the couple were now on the back of the donkey, and they continued with their journey. They found the next set of critics, and then these guys were animal like they were very concerned about animal rights, and they were like, "Poor stupid couple, how dare they overuse the donkey like this or misuse the donkey like this? Two human beings on a poor donkey's back." So they had that criticism, and they were like, "By the way, I think they are right. Let's just alight." So they alighted. They continue with the journey. Anyway, you Google the story. The story goes on and on and on until it gets to a point where the critics were like, they should be carrying the donkey on their backs. And guess what? They listened to the critics and they carried the donkey on their back. Yeah, the story, the one that I was reading, it has illustrations, and it's just funny. But then when you actually think about it, it's what we do. You start on your life's path or your journey towards whatever vision you have, and then you hear critics telling you, that is not how things are done, or this and that and that and that, and you keep hearing or listening to the critics and conforming to what they are suggesting. The thing is, it's endless. You will keep shifting you will just keep shifting a lot, and the critics will never be satisfied. The first set will be satisfied, and then you find the next one they will criticize. Yeah, so the whole point is that critics are always there. You are also a critic to someone else, and it's okay. It's just human nature. And so I hope that your project, your ideas, I hope you're not shelving them because you fear criticism. Let me read in this topic, or in this lesson of F the critics, or just be immune to criticism. But I don't think we can be, but you can just try to continue doing your projects even with criticism, that the critics or criticism will not hinder you from unleashing your full potential. So 2 quotes that give me confidence to move forward or to deal with criticism. Let me read. If you do not want to get criticized, hide from the world. Be nobody. Stand for nothing. Never express yourself. Keep your creativity hidden. But realize that a life lived in fear and anonymity is no life at all. Progress and growth demand bravery. Have the courage to be disliked while staying kind. Meet cruelty with grace and stand tall in who you are, no matter the noise. Amazing quote. And lastly, from Eleanor Roosevelt, do what you feel in your heart to be right, for you will be criticized anyway. You will be damned if you do, and damned if you don't. This will be second last episode of this year. We have one more episode coming up next week, and then we'll close the year. And have happy Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I'll see you guys next year, 2025. Please engage with the content that I've created already. And if you like my content, consider subscribing. Leave a comment on what you want me to explore next year, or just your ideas or your thoughts. I'll really appreciate that. Until then, goodbye. Take care.